Hi, I'm Zach. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, welcome back to another episode of my ongoing series. Posting daily Warhammer content until I own an Acastus Knight Porphyrion. Yesterday we talked about the Knight Porphyrion's weaponry and combat role amongst the Imperial Knights, but today I want to focus on the role the Porphyrion and its pilot plays within the Knight House of the Imperium. Because for as much as I can glaze the model itself, I personally find the lore of the Porphyrion and how it's viewed by its fellow knights the true highlight of this lesser-known behemoth. The first major thing to note is that the Acastus frame of knight is incredibly rare. During the events of the Horus Heresy, the Acastus were already considered scarce amongst the titanic mechanical forces of the Imperium, to the point that many of the houses aligned to the Mechanicus revered them as avatars of the Omnissiah. Fast forward 10,000 years to the contemporary timeline, and their numbers have dwindled to near non-existence, with only a handful of knight houses even able to boast one amongst their ranks in their histories, let alone a fully operational Acastus in the modern day. With the rarity of these great machines of death, one would be forgiven for thinking that the pilots of these knights would be revered amongst the noble house's retinue, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. You see, most knight pilots far prefer being in melee during combat, believing that, much akin to the knights of Old Terra, the mastery of the blade is to be honorable, and that range combat is viewed as distasteful or lacks any glory. And like we covered yesterday, the Porphyrion and its Acastus brother the Asterius lack any melee weaponry outside of literally just stomping their enemies to death. However, while both Acastus knights are seen as distasteful by the vast majority of knight pilots, the Porphyrion holds a darker reputation that often make other pilots uneasy or frightful of its gaze. The Porphyrion and its pilot often serve as the enforcer to the head of the house, and as such, they are sanctioned to commit extrajudicial executions against knights that they see as necessary, ranging anywhere from executing dissidents who sow rebellion to purging any that bring dishonor upon the house and its name. Oftentimes, this leads many of the nobles of a knight house to ostracize and treat the Porphyrion pilot as a social outcast. It has been noted that during major feasts within a house, the Porphyrion pilot is often kept isolated from others, many times being forced to eat in another room or an entirely other building. Many lesser nobles, in quiet, hushed tones, often ridicule or mock the Porphyrion pilot behind their back. But it will always be in quiet, hushed tones, lest they incur the wrath of the executioner.